Hello, this is Julia, and I'm so happy you're popping by my Christmas card series. This is a card with the Snarky cats from Tim Holtz, and my idea is simple and unfolding naturally. I want a cat that tipped over the Christmas tree, so I sketch out a fallen Christmas tree and trace my pencil lines with a black permanent marker. When I have all my black lines in place, I color the tree with Arteza alcohol markers, saturating the paper with the lightest shade of green, and filling in the shadows with 3 darker shades, trying to bring this tree to life, and blending them out with my lightest shade again. I fill in the star at the top with a gold gel pen and start coloring the ornaments. I color them in 3 shades of red, making sure to leave a highlight here and there, working lightest to dark and back to the lightest again. Now let's do the background, and I work with 3 shades of Distress Oxide ink in Candied Apple, Aged Mahogany and Black Soot. I have a piece of watercolor cardstock and I blend the lightest color first, Candied Apple, from the middle and out. Then I use a blending brush and Aged Mahogany to darken the edges and give my background some depth. Finally, I darken the edges even more with some Black Soot. I use the stamp set Snarky Cats, and I pick a cat that looks guilty. I put him in my stamping platform and ink up with VersaFine Onyx Black ink, and I stamp my cat, making sure to press that ink into my paper. And there is my naughty cat. This time I color with Ohuhu alcohol markers, and I chose 3 shades of yellow and orange to keep the cat light, since there are so many shadows already built in to these stamps. As always, I go from the lightest shade to the darkest and back to the light again. For the hat I have 3 shades of red, and through the coloring of this card I try to leave some harsh lines and not focus too much on the blending, trying to make the coloring more cartoonish. I color his belt with a dark grey, and for the Santa beard I use a light grey outlined, and I blend that out with a colorless blender. And for the belt buckle, I use a silver gel pen. The ink on my background is now dry, and I want to create a pattern that resembles a wallpaper, so I use this background plaid stamp from Concord and 9th, but I bought it on second hand. And I stamp my background in VersaFine Onyx Black ink, and cover the ink in black embossing powder and heat set until melted and shiny. I line up the stamp again to stamp the rest and do the same procedure as before, stamp and heat emboss. I love layers, and I want a layer behind my main panel, so I ink up the edges of a slightly larger piece of cardstock with Distress Oxide ink in Candied Apple and Aged Mahogany. I want the edges on this panel distressed, so I use my scissors to go around the edges, roughing them up. Now I want to bling up my Christmas tree, and I use Ranger's Holographic embossing powder. I take my embossing pen and fill in those ornaments and cover them in holographic embossing powder, and then I use my heat tool to melt the powder, leaving the ornaments with both shine and glimmer. It's time for a Christmas sentiment, and I chose this hilarious sentiment. It's all fun and games till Santa checks his naughty list. I stamp it in VersaFine onyx black ink on white cardstock, cover it in black embossing powder, and heat set my sentiment. I use glossy accents to accentuate the cat's big, guilty eyes. Before I start to assemble my card, I need something more for my backing layer. So I take my VersaFine ink pad and rub it all over the edges, and then I cover the edges in black embossing powder and melt it with my heat tool. This ties my whole card together and brings some interest to that layer. I use Ranger's Multimatte Medium to glue down my patterned background, the Christmas tree, the guilty cat, and finally I glue down the sentiment. And with that, my card is finished. Thank you all so much for watching and supporting my channel. Until the next time, happy holidays!